Out of more than 400,000 soldiers currently serving in the Ukrainian armed forces, about 20% are women. The majority serve in supporting roles, but some have gone to fight on the front lines in Ukraine's ongoing war against Russia's invasion. Getting that chance was a fight in itself, as DW's Max Zander reports.
One shot. One kill. Meet Alexandra. She used to work in a bakery. Now she's a sniper. Today she shows us what she does on a 100-meter range somewhere in central Ukraine. At the front line, her targets can be more than a kilometer away. Her job takes skill and a certain mindset.
Well, I see my enemy. I see the occupier who came to our land to destroy our state, our people. Nothing more.
She says many still question her ability to do this because she's a woman. Women have long served in the Ukrainian armed forces, but few take part in combat. The woman who shot this video is another one. It's last fall near Avdiivka. Ukrainian soldiers are holding the line against a Russian onslaught. After hours of battle, they bring their wounded to safety. We meet Olena in Donbas region. When not fighting, she stays in a village. She says joining the war changed her life.
Here I feel life on my tongue, on my lips. I feel much more than I did in civilian life.
Before the war, she was a communication trainer in Kyiv. A few months into the full-scale invasion, she signed up. She felt she'd ignored the war for too long. Now Olena clears trenches with the infantry. She had to push for a frontline job.
He asked me, "Do you really want a combat position? It's difficult, and not all commanders accept girls in combat positions." I said, "I don't care. What's going on with the commanders? I don't care how hard it is. I know for sure that I can."
Women have been allowed to serve in combat roles since 2018, but not everyone sees their worth on the battlefield. Olena says her experiences are overall good, but she too had to prove to her comrades she was a good fighter.
I have never heard such words of admiration towards me. Everyone told me the same thing. "Olena, you have bigger balls than some of our guys. You're one of the best because what you did there deserves a lot of respect." And after that, everything changed.
She has been decorated for her courage by President Zelensky. Yet, it's not all bravado. She's used social media posts to show her reality of the war. This video was recorded after a battle, with heavy losses.
Be cursed, everyone who's behind this.
Back in central Ukraine, sniper Alexandra takes us to the temporary flat she shares with her husband, who also joined up. Her theory is that gender stereotypes can become self-fulfilling.
Unfortunately, men, probably without realizing it themselves, with their exaggerated care and attitude towards women, make women calmer, prevent them from becoming stronger and being equal with them.
As a sniper, where you need to be invisible, she says being as small as she is can be an advantage. And women in general can be less emotionally driven than men, she suggests.
They are not only less aggressive, but also think more about each task. That is, they do not do it suddenly, but try to think it over, analyze it, and carry it out with a cool head, thinking more about safety and those around them.
That's not a view shared by many in the military.
Every woman in the army has to show that she is worthy to be in the same combat position and fight on an equal footing with a man.
That's something infantry soldier Elena has also had to do. She says she has been accepted by her peers, but 2 years into the war, as Ukraine struggles to fill the ranks, many women who want to follow her example have a fight on their hands to do so.
And for more on that, let's bring in Sabina Fraser from Kyiv. She is a UN Women Country Representative in Ukraine. Thank you so much for your time today. We have just been hearing that there are 60,000 women serving in Ukraine's armed forces, making it one of the armies worldwide which has the most women. Why is that?
Thank you very much for having me on today for International Women's Day. Yes, Ukraine has about 60,000 women serving, including 6,000 on the front lines. And I think that this is because of the 10 years of aggression by the Russian Federation. And women have been disproportionately affected by the war. So we find that the number of displaced persons, refugees, are highest amongst women. So it is quite natural that women have decided now to also join the army and other security and defense forces. They are playing a very important role on the front line. And what we're seeing is that the Ministry of Defense has also engaged in significant reforms to ensure that women can access different positions in the army and actually reach out to the front lines. And that really the amount of discrimination inside the ministry itself has diminished.
How have you highlighted a little bit of it there. You kind of gave us a little clue into it. But, how have you seen it changing the image of women in Ukraine over these past years?
We've definitely seen a dramatic change of the view of women in the military. It's become much more accepted, much more recognized, both legally. So now women can serve in all positions. They can serve as snipers, they can serve as tank drivers, which was not the case at the beginning several years ago. So there have been institutional changes that have affected increased women's potential to serve in the military, but also publicly. We see many more images of women in the military on TV, in posters. So there's also been more of a public acceptance. And I just want to mention one particular initiative that happened over the past couple of years is the preparation of uniforms. Female uniforms, so that women can serve comfortably in the army. This was something that was driven by civil society, by a women's organization. So what we've also seen, quite interestingly, is that women's organizations themselves have been trying to ensure equal access and rights to women in the security and defense sector.
There are still reports, however, of discrimination despite all of that progress in the past years. Can you tell us a little bit more about where things stand and where they are right now?
Yeah, as your film also just suggested, is that there is still work to be done. There are still cases of discrimination. There's still allegations of harassment and even sexual harassment. So, of course, there is still work to be done in the military to ensure that any kind of violations are addressed. I should say also there are still very few women in leadership positions in the military. And so this, of course, also takes time. So it's important to ensure that women have equal access to training, that they have the same opportunities to rise up in the military. I believe that the Ministry of Defense in Ukraine is working on all this. But of course, it takes time to change the institution, both structurally, but also mentally in terms of the perceptions amongst the rest of the force.
Thank you so much for joining us to share that perspective. Sabina Fraser, UN Country Representative, UN Women, Country Representative in Ukraine. We appreciate it.
Thank you.